me and asked, if we had an actual final. And considering that some of the folks in the class have never been in the class, it has to be, if there is such a final, it has to be online. So
it's been mentioned multiple times that we don't have a traditional final in this class.
I've had it posted on my notes too. So that's and we've gone over it several times. So we're really not. No, why?
It's another
What's
reason
all
I don't
this?
like Zoom. I noticed it with my soldiers during COVID and whatnot. It's just too easy to hop on there and then check out.
However, so this is the last class for this semester. I will be teaching logic if students sign up for it in the summer. So that's interesting. And that one should be just online, but not synchronous. So at the moment, what I'm thinking is I'll probably use the videos that I made for this class as part of the available resources for that one, because that will be, again, a class where I'm expecting not to use a logic text as a required purchase.
Right.
So I'm still wondering if you should in the future take the LSAT, or if any of the class take the LSAT. I'd love to hear if, number one, if you do well, as I would hope you do, but also if you think any of the things that we covered in this class were pertinent I mean, it's clear to me that should be the case. My worry is that since I changed the course pretty radically from a typical, very boring way of doing a logic class, which has a lot of rote learning, because it's all the exercises.
That's honestly what I expected. It was completely different from what I expected to come here. So it's like, oh, cool.
Well,
I was not looking forward to math of language.
to do the exercises would have required a universal text for the room,
Right.
so that everyone's doing the same exercises, because otherwise it would have been more difficult, of course, for me to work with what issues you might have been having. So that was, I think, the biggest issue, is not having a text. We're not going through rote exercises to inculcate the patterns, that we associate with
Not repetition.
arguments, argument forms, valid argument forms. And that absolutely seems to be the strength of a course like logic, in helping someone do the LSAT, not only in getting the answers right, but in doing them quickly. That's what the advantage of rote learning is. You see something and right away I know modus ponens,
Right.
modus tollens, or that's invalid, You
Yeah,
might not even say to yourself, oh, it's invalid because, but you recognize, the form, that's invalid right away. And so, the advantage of taking something like the LSAT is not only that you could get the right answers, but you could get them quickly enough that you get through as many of the problems as possible
Right.
in the time you have allotted.
Just in general, not even just the LSAT, the logic, that's why I think it's important. It helps us to cut through the nonsense and see.
Although, if the way that we strengthen our logical reasoning is by practice with good logical arguments. We have so much going on today
So much garbage out there.
that's just mind-boggling. I don't know if you watched one of the later interviews that occurred with our president-elect.
Yeah.
Um, it almost reminds me of Saturday Night Live years ago, where, the interviewer, in hearing the answers, to the questions, just looks boggled
Yeah.
and just like, huh?
Ignores the crazy
What?
and then asks the next question.
Yeah, and the
That's
the discussions about the interview afterwards were that, well, they didn't do too much fact checking on at the moment, because that, we have discovered, just irritates the heck out of the person who is so wrong.
I don't understand that too. It's like there's this righteous high horse behind media not fact checking people. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, don't you want them to fact check them?
Well, I think on the one side, the feeling is that all this fact checking is based on a reality that isn't the one that they're trying to construct.
Right. So it's
And
false.
so it feels to them like it's clearly not just fact checking, it's opposition
Mhm.
to what we want to say that tariffs will make our country rich
Right.
and won't cost taxpayers anything.
Right. Without understanding any of how
And
that
you're
works.
at that point, that's where you see the face of the person who's asking the question.
Are you serious? Yeah, we live in crazy times.
That and some of the other issues. The flat denial almost immediately after saying what they intend to do, and then saying, well, but no, well, we won't do that.
That's the Stone philosophy, though. That's who he follows, and he like word for word, and that's exactly it. Deny.
I love
Lie,
the
deny.
conflict over he wants all these people to go to jail, but they haven't done anything that could merit them being put on trial for anything, let alone
Right.
found guilty. And,
Yet,
and yeah,
yet the law was being used as lawfare. It's like, well, what are you doing, dude? Like, I don't get what you.
oh well, yeah.
You did break laws. They did not break laws. Oh, we live in a backwards reality.
So as much as a logic course is a good thing, for you to go over patterns of good reasoning, you're at the same time faced with a world that's increasingly,
Illogical.
apparently. I mean, the world itself
And
is
that's a
not
good way of putting
illogical.
it, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, the world itself is not illogical,
that
but
way.
the media certainly presents us with plenty of opportunity to shake our heads and wonder what's going on.
Right.
Because it almost feels like 1984, the Orwell book.
I was just saying that like 2 days ago. We were having a conversation about we're living in 1984.
But the real world is out there and continues to march. Even though it's very surprising, I don't know how much attention you paid to the sudden change in Syria
Oh my God. Yeah.
just this last week.
Think back to how terrifying that war was. That was an insane war, and then it was just over in a day, all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, apparently Hezbollah really got beat up pretty badly in what was going on in Lebanon.
As did Russia.
And Russia, I imagine Russia has the resources, but
They're not
what
gonna-
several individuals have pointed out there was, we're not going to try to support the Syrian army if the Syrian army is running away.
Right. Why would you?
Yeah,
It's a waste
yeah,
of
they
resources.
basically ran away, and as a result,
In one day. That's just wild.
yeah, they didn't. Why is something blinking? You can't see it from your angle, but from my angle, I guess it could be. Maybe it has to be from that window coming in on that angle. In any case, so what I was planning on doing, and we're well in, is just reviewing what we had done with the course. Because kind of a summary of what I just put you through should be in order, unless you have questions. I should start with that. Anybody have any questions so far about anything we're still doing, or your final? I don't have anyone's records with me here. They're at home on my computer there. Whether that's legal or not, I don't know. That's a UAA account, though. But in any case, so if you want to check on your grade, I'd have to get home and email you a response to that. But you should know your grade, actually, because I've replied to all the tests and the quiz responses. Quiz responses are just a general thing. So as far as grading is concerned, you should already know your grade, actually, unless you're still turning in some work, in which case I do have until Wednesday of next week to finish. I'm usually finished slightly early, at least by a day or so. So if you are still sending me stuff, if you're out of state or had issues like people dying, that happens every semester. And so I'm still accepting work up until the very end. But once I turn the grade in, and it rolls over, as it's so called, at midnight on the final day, I can't change them. They're done. So make sure you have everything in before, as soon as possible, really. Considering today's the last day, and Saturday at least is the end of the semester, this Saturday. Plus, an interesting wrench has been thrown into my schedule because I have jury duty next week.
Oh.
So I'm anxious about that. It's not so much for this class, because this class, the grading is fairly simple. But for my long essay and term paper classes, I've got to read those.
Yeah.
And people do have a tendency of sending me everything all at once at the very end. Do I have until midnight? Can I use 1 o'clock in the morning? Is that okay? And I'm thinking, 3,000 words, even if I look at it, yeah, oh, okay, this is all, yep, okay, good.
26 times.
But, well, I've got, altogether I've had 105 students for the semester.
Ayo. That's a lot of reading.
That's what I do, though. Okay, so no questions. I don't see anyone raising hands or anything. There's way more folks on Zoom than there are present than us, as usual. Which, considering the weather, that clearly indicates you should pass the course, because you're smarter than I am.
Big Bruce is too old and stubborn.
Oh, the military trains you to be.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, so the world is real out there. So what did we try to cover in logic? Let me. I already have my content there. Let's look at the syllabus. And go over what we went over. We'll assess what we've assessed, how we've assessed what we've assessed.
Very hard.
I like so don't forget the quiz responses, because if you haven't kept up with them, I joke that I weigh those. I take all your emails and I put them on a flash drive, and then I weigh the flash drive to see if it's heavy enough. That should be funny enough that everyone just laughs at it, but all right. No one from this class has visited me at my office the whole semester. But, why would you do that? actually, because the internet and email is actually much more efficient. But that's just been interesting. I mean, I did have a couple people from other classes that visited and even played chess. We had some
Oh.
chess games this semester. However, that's the way that went. But so, when we start a logic course, and if you look at logic books, and I don't